ವಾರ್ತಾ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಸಾರ ಸಚಿವಾಲಯದ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುವ ಮೈಸೂರಿನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಮೆ ಆಯೋಜಿತ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸದ್ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮೈಸೂರು, ಜೆಎಸ್ಎಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್, ವಿದ್ಯಾವರ್ತಕ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ಕೂಡ ಸಹಯೋಗ ಒದಗಿಸಿದೆ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಯ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕಾವ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಜಿ.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತದೆ.
Go on.
ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ತ್ರಿಜಗವಂದಿತನೇ ಸುಜನರ ಪೂರ್ವನೇ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ತ್ರಿಜಗ ಸುಜನರ ಪೂರ್ವನೇ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಪಾಶಾಂಕುಶಧರ ಪರಮ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಮೂಷಿಕ ವಾಹನ ಮುನಿ ಜನ ಪ್ರೇಮ ಪಾಶಾಂಕುಶ ಧರ್ಮ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಮೂಷಿಕ ವಾಹನ ಮುನಿ ಜನ ಪ್ರೇಮ ವಂದಿತನೇ ಸುಜನರ ಪೂರ್ವನೇ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಮೋದದಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪಾದವ ತೋರು ಚಾರು ವಂದಿತನೇ ಆದರದಿಂದಲೇ ಮೋದದಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪಾದವ ತೋರು ಸಾಧು ವಂದಿತನೇ ಆದರದಿಂದಲೇ ಸರಸಿ ಜನಾಭ ಶ್ರೀ ಸರಸಿ ಜನಾಭ ಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ಸರಸಿ ಜನ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ನಿರುತನೆಯುವಂತೆ ದಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ತ್ರಿಜಗವಂದಿತನೇ ಸುಜನರ ಪೂರ್ವನೇ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಕವಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಈಗ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವಂತ ಗಣ್ಯರನ್ನ ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಅವರು, SR ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್, ಎಕ್ಮೆ, ಮೈಸೂರು.
Atmanirbhar Bharat is the vision of the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, of making India a self-reliant nation. The first mention of this name came in the form of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, a self-reliant India mission during the announcement of the coronavirus pandemic-related economic package on 12th May 2020. Namaste and good morning to all. Dr. Bhagyashree, Dean Research Professor, Department. At this point of time, I would like to thank Mr. Kumar, Director, Cognizant Technologies Private Limited, for accepting our invitation. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I would like to thank Dr. T.C. Purnima, Deputy Director, Field Outreach Bureau, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, for giving us an opportunity to convene this program. I welcome you, madam. We at ATM College of Engineering truly believe in coming together in compassion and evolve collectively. We are constantly working towards building an environment that enables people to meet their best selves. And this webinar is the result of such individuals coming together to do their part in making the world a better place. At this juncture, I would like to thank our management and principal for giving me the opportunity to convene this program. I would like to welcome Mr. Sahasral Aradhya, Principal, JSS Polytechnic, Nanjangud, for this program. We welcome you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Krishna, Principal, Vidyavardhaka Polytechnic, Mysore, for this program. We welcome you, sir. I would like to welcome Sadvidya Education Institutions, Mysuru, CII Young India, Mysore, CPC Polytechnic, Mysore, SVEL PU College, Mysore, Viveka PU College, JSS Polytechnic, Nanjangud, Vidyavardhaka Polytechnic, Mysore, Viveka PU College, Mysore, Government Composite PU College, Bharatinagar, for doing this program. Looking at the webinar schedule, we are positive that this is going to be useful, informative, and pleasurable. I personally have no doubt that each and every one of us will have something to take away from this event. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants for joining us to share their valuable time with us. Thank you one and all. Have a great day. Happy learning.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಮೇಡಮ್. ತಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲಾಖೆ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲಾಖೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ತಾವಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲಾಖೆಯ ಹಿರಿಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಹಾಗೂ ಉಪನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಟಿ ಸಿ ಪೂರ್ಣಿಮಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ವಾರ್ತಾ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಸಾರ ಸಚಿವಾಲಯದ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮೈಸೂರು ಇವರ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಆಟ್ಮೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜು ಮತ್ತಿತರ ಅನೇಕ ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಸಹಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಅಂತರ್ಜಾಲ ಸಂವಾದ ಸರಣಿಯ 3ನೇ ದಿನದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವಿವತ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಅನೇಕ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ಶಿಪ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಂಗಳನ್ನ, ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಜನರ ಉಪಯೋಗಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ತರ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ, ಯೋಜನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜನರ ಮನೆ ಬಾಗಿಲಿಗೆ, ಅವರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ತಲುಪುವ ಹಾಗೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗುವ ಹಾಗೆ ರವಾನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ, ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಡುವಂತಹ, ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮೂಡಿಸುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಭಾರತದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಜಾಲವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಜನಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ಶಿಪ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಂಗಳನ್ನ ಏನು ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಮ್ಗಾಗಿ ಕೊಡಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಜನತೆಯ ಅನುಕೂಲಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಕೊಡಮಾಡ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳೇನಿದೆ, ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ 26 ಯೋಜನೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗುರುತು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಅವುಗಳ ಪೈಕಿ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಸಂವರ್ಧನೆಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಂವರ್ಧನೆಗೆ, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾನಾ ಆಯಾಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದೀಗ ಅನೇಕ ಹೊಸ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇವುಗಳ ಪೈಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಯೋಜನೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಯುವ ಜನರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನಾಂಗದ ಸಂತತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಸಬಲತೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅವರ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಸಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಸ್ವದೇಶೀಯತೆಯನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಮೈಗೂಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಯೋಜನೆಯನ್ನು ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಡೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಇದರ ಫಲಿತಾಂಶವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮುಂಬರುವ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಓವರ್ ನೈಟ್ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಏನು ಇವಾಗಲೇ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ, ರೂಢಿಗತವಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಉದ್ಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಒಡೆದು ಹೊರಬಂದು ನಾವು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಯನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲೇ ಉಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನತ್ತ ನಾವು ಸಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗಷ್ಟೇ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿಯನ್ನ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಭಾರತದ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಗಳನ್ನ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲೇ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಉತ್ತಮ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನ ಓದುವ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ, ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸದ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡುವ ಪ್ರಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಈಗಿನ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಯವರಾದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಅವರು ಆಯೋಜನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಸದೃಢತೆಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಜನರ ಸದೃಢತೆಗೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶವಾಸಿಗಳ ಸದೃಢತೆಗೆ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ, ಇದು ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದ ಸರ್ವತೋಮುಖ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಆಯಾಮ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ರಂಗಾಚಾರಿ ಅವರು, ಇವರು ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಕಾಗ್ನಿಸೈಟ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಮೆಂಟರ್ ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಾವು ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಉಪಯುಕ್ತವಾದಂತಹ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನ ಅನೇಕ ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧ ಭಾಷಣಕಾರರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಉಳ್ಳಂತಹ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿಂದ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಆಯಾ ಏರಿಯಾಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಮುಂದುವರಿವಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ರಂಗಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ಆಟ್ಮೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಅವರು ಡೀನ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಇಸಿಇ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟ್ಮೆನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ತಗೊಂಡಂತಹ ಇನಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಅನೇಕ ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು, ಸದ್ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಂಜನಗೂಡಿನ JSS ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿದ್ಯಾವರ್ಧಕ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸರ್ಗೂರಿಂದ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮದ್ದೂರಿಂದ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅನೇಕ ಸಂಘ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನ, ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಈ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ಅವರ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ, ಇದನ್ನ 4-6 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗ್ಲಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಲಭ್ಯ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಅವರು ಅಂಥವರ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಪ್ಪಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಬಹಳ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗೋದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನನಗನ್ಸೋದು ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನಾಂಗ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಆ ಫೋಕ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅವರು ಇಂತಹ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಭಾಗಿಗಳಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ಮೂಲಕ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಭ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ನೆರವನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಸಸಲಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಅವರು, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಾಲ್ ಅವರು, JSS ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಕಾಲೇಜು ನಂಜನಗೂಡು, ಹಾಗೂ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಅವರು, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಾಲ್ ಅವರು, ವಿದ್ಯಾವರ್ಧಕ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಮೈಸೂರು, ಇವರು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನನ್ನ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಸಹಕಾರವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೈಗೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಅನೇಕ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಜನಮಾನಸಕ್ಕೆ ತಲುಪಿಸೋಣ, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶವಾಸಿಗಳು ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಸುಭದ್ರಲಾಗ್ಲಿ, ದೇಶ ಗಟ್ಟಿಗೊಳ್ಳಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ, ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ರಂಗಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಉತ್ಸುಕರಾಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಿಂದುಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆರ್ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಸಸಲಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸಲಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಸರ್, ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಹಲೋ
ಹಲೋ, ಸಸಲಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಅವರು, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ಸರ್?
ಸರ್, ತಮ್ಮ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
Dr. Bhagyashree Aru, can you kindly find out whether he is available or anybody can introduce Shri the...
One second, let me see, he is coming. There on the line, one second.
ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಿಂದುಗಳಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಆರ್ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಸರಾಲ ಆರಾಧ್ಯರು ಸರ್, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಜೆಎಸ್ಎಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಲೋ ಆರಾಧ್ಯ ಸರ್. I think network issue ಇದೆ. So
one second. I request Deepak to give a brief introduction of Sukumar sir. Deepak is online.
Deepak ಅವರೇ,
I request Deepak, Panigan Placement Officer, 18 meters of engineering, to give an introduction of Sukumar sir.
Yeah, good morning all of you. Yeah, thank you for giving me an opportunity to introduce our speaker, Mr. Sukumar Rangachari. He has finished his BTech in Electronics and Electrical Communication Engineering in the year 1969 to 1972 from IIT Kharagpur, and completed his PGDM Marketing Operation A+ from Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore in the year 1975 to 77. He has certificate of membership of Institute of Directors and credentials ID is M1879. He has the ability to converse almost in 4 languages. Hello sir. Yes sir. Yeah. He has the ability to converse almost in 4 languages such as English, Kannada, Tamil and Hindi. He has served for different groups such as IIMB, Consultant Network Entrepreneurship Cell, IIT Kharagpur, Local Market India, IIM Society, the Indus Entrepreneur. He was a business mentor at IIM Bangalore, Nandathur S. Raghavan Center for Entrepreneurship and alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. He has worked in B2B marketing for 10 years in Bombay. He established an electronic component unit in Mysore in 1982, served for electronics. Yeah, and in the sector of telecom, defense and instrumentation markets in India with indirect exports. He has handed over operations to employees in the year 2015. He was the founder director of a US-based software company with a development unit. He is an independent director of a startup in the area of process quality and productivity in construction industry. He is a certified assessor for the CII Examen Award for Industrial Excellence. He has been an adjunct faculty in JSS Center of Management Studies as well as a visiting faculty at STM-IMD. Besides that, he has provided several management training. He has also given a lot of executive coaching, and he has been in this activity from the past 20 years. He has been a chairman of CII Mysore and actively served in NGOs, including CBSE School. He is a life member of Indian Society for Training and Development and Institute of Directors. He has served with more than 45 years of distinguished experience as an entrepreneur, trainer, consultant, coach, and mentor. He is a director of PointCross.com Private Limited, which serves for life science industry solution. He is the founder trustee of Asha Kirana Charitable Trust, where he started for the care of HIV patients. He has established an electronic component unit in Mysore in 1982, served for professional as a managing director of Ace Components and Electronics Private Limited. And he has ventured out as a production manager in Crompton Greaves from 1977 to 79. He also was a regional manager for Usha Industries for 2 years from 1979 to 1981. He has worked for Perhack. Currently, he is a mentor at IIM Bangalore, NSRCEL Bangalore, Nandathur S. Raghavan Center for Entrepreneurship Learning, Bangalore, Karnataka, India. Overall, he is a simple and layman and an example for better understanding of business person. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ದೀಪಕ್ ಅವರೇ.
Thank you, sir.
ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಘಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಆರ್ ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಾಗ್ನಿಸೆಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. ಇವರಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ವಿಚಾರ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಈಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಹಂಚ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರ, ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ತಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಂಡ ನಂತರ ತಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಬಂದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓವರ್ ಟು ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್.
Thank you, Deepak, for an excellent introduction.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. Well, I thank Mr. Arun Kumar and panel members of this committee, Dr. Basavaraj, who is a principal, I think, of Atmi College, Dr. Bhagyashree, and other panel members. And of course, to give you a small brief, she started her career immediately after passing out of her engineering with us. She was there, I don't know, maybe for a couple of years. She was heading quality, and then she moved on to academics. Well, I thank for the opportunity given to me to address the audience on this webinar series on self-sustenance through Atmanirbhar Bharat. Today's topic is ease of. I believe that you already have had one other person who had Mr. or Dr. Achyut of Unilogs who had spoken something. There may be a couple of similarities, but anyway, I give it again from purely my experience, because I'm a totally homegrown entrepreneur, unlike Achyut, who has been in the US and came back and set up the unit here. I am sure the earlier speakers, Achyut of Unilog and Swami Vireshananda Saraswati of Ramakrishna Vivekananda Ashram Tumkur, has given you an overview of startups on our Swatantra Bharat. I would like to give you a brief overview of my experience first. Maybe I'll take about 10 minutes to do that, because you will maybe see or look at the whole subject from that context. That is the only reason which I probably would like to. I'll take over some presentation from here. Well, are you able to see the screen presented?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
this is only to prompt the flow of what I would like to speak, rather than don't really bother about the content. First, a small introduction about myself, as already been pointed out, read by Deepak. I have a degree in electronics from IIT Kharagpur and an MBA in marketing and operations from IIM Bangalore. I have about 7 years of work from Mumbai, then it was called Bombay, in B2B marketing of electronic components and equipment. Well, this was the one which prompted me when I wanted to start up, establish an industry, that my earlier experience and confidence in the B2B market in electronics was the one reason for me to choose the product which we finally started manufacturing in Mysore. To give us a brief about the era around that early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, was that India used to import, of course, we used to import a whole lot of things, including components. Of course, most of even the capital equipment, the needed for manufacturing, the raw materials needed for manufacturing, everything used to be imported, and most of the time the finished goods too. In fact, if you have heard of those days, we used to call it CKD, meaning completely knockdown condition. So you had even white goods and vehicles come in CKD condition and assembled and sold here. Now, obviously, this created a lot of foreign exchange outflow, and with a lack of exports, we always were precariously positioned on the foreign exchange reserves in this country. So this prompted the government to promote industries, and the one of the avenues which the government at that time promoted was what was called as the ancillary industries to the large public sector units which are already there at that time. Of course, most of you are aware of BEL, ITI, HMT, HAL, BHEL, and very coincidentally, all of them are in Bangalore. Okay, although they have units elsewhere. So this prompted me that the impetus given by the government to start industries and the incentives which they offered was quite attractive at that time. And whereas most of my classmates went abroad, I said, let me try my luck in this country. So I turned an entrepreneur after about 7.5 years of experience. I was a first generation entrepreneur, and it was a big challenge. A technical input from IIT and operations and marketing from MBA with the work helped me a lot in having the confidence and courage to go ahead with setting up a manufacturing unit. This was an era of licensing, as you all know. Till 1991, we were in that what we called as a license ranch. Anything you wanted, you need to procure a license. So I started with and all these licensing, except for small scale industries, were all based at Delhi. What was called as a DGTD, which was a Director General of Technical Development and Industrial Licensing. So one had to get a license there, what to produce and how much to produce and where to produce. Of course, this must be totally new to you, but then this was what it was. But at the same time, the central government and the state government created a lot of infrastructure. And I can tell you very proudly that Karnataka was one of the topmost in that, establishing industrial areas and providing incentives. While the central government, through Industrial Development Bank of India, provided seed capital to technocrat entrepreneurs, the central government also identified various centrally backward areas, industrially backward areas, giving central subsidy. The state government gave a development loan for establishing an industry in that state. I was based out of Mumbai. I was scouting around for where all to put the industry in. My first obvious choice was in Maharashtra, but then later on, tried Tamil Nadu, tried Gujarat, and fortunately, I had schooled in Bangalore, so my I was back. I was more attached to Karnataka. Came and spoke to a lot of people in Bangalore, and I found that the infrastructure here was much better than some of the other places. Together with the fact that I was more at home, and as I told you, the industrial infrastructure here was very good. And I do not know why Mysore was called industrially backward, although of course it was one of the best places to stay in, and that anywhere in India. And any proud Mysorean will vote for it. So the natural choice was to choose Mysore, and I established the unit here in Mysore. Facilities were available there for financing, because I did this exercise only to show that things were much better, although I do not know why not too many people came to establish units. Of course, there were many difficulties. With that also we will say. As I told you, there was a seed capital assistance, there was a central subsidy, and the development loan, which together formed, in my case, out of a total outlay of about 75 lakhs at that time, that is 1982, you can imagine. Together formed about 30% of the thing, and I had to bring in only 20% equity. Otherwise, normally for any project, the debt equity ratio is 1:2. That means even if I need 100%, then I have to bring in at least 33, 34%. But this made me initially to bring in much less equity. I could count the seed capital given by the IDBI also in my share of the equity and the central subsidy. And with this, I could borrow 50% of the money from KSFC and KSIDC. This helped me a lot in setting up the industry, which was highly capital intensive at that time. The electronic components is a highly capital industry. To give you a brief, I'll just go on the offside to tell you that any industry, for that matter, whether you're talking about automobile or textile or, of course, electronics especially, has a 4-tier approach in the manufacturing. What you normally see is a final product, whether it is a television or a mobile or the electronics which goes into a car or anything which you normally you use. This is again made up of various components, sub-assemblies which go into it, whether it is a power supply or a tuner or whatever it is. Now there are many components. Like in an automobile, which is easier to visualize, you have the car. Nobody makes the whole thing. You have the steering assembly. There are the tires made by somebody else. Then you have the harness assembly made by somebody else. And so, many of these which finally are done by various people, and these sub-assemblies together are assembled in a car manufacturing unit or a two-wheeler manufacturing, whatever it may be. Now, these sub-assemblies need components, and these components are again made by usually a different set of manufacturing. And for manufacturing the components, you need raw materials and basic materials. Why I'm telling you this is that India had this culture, I would say, of making from CKD condition, which was called, completely knockdown condition. I know for a fact that sometime later it became semi-knockdown condition because the government brought in the rule that there must be at least a certain minimum value added to the product if you are going to import components. And I do not know, for whatever reason, especially from the electronics, I can tell you that we never ventured towards materials. And materials, components, subassembly, final product. Keep that in mind. That is the chain of supply from the basic materials to the final product. We always started from the final product. To give you an example, today we say that 90% of the mobiles are manufactured in the country. I would say, so what? Because what is the value added? You still are importing the sub-assemblies, you are importing components, you are importing, you don't have the materials to make the components. And so what you are doing is only a final assembly. Similarly, if you see, we talk about ESDM, Electronic Systems Design and Manufacturing. While design happens in India, like, the Intel chips are made in India, but the manufacture of the chip is made elsewhere. So there is a problem here that we are adding value at a very low end, at the end of the value chain, and not at the basic level. The value add at the basic level can sometimes be almost like 100, 200%. Whereas on the final stage, it is normally not 20 to 30%. That's not even 20%, 10 to 20%. So that is the problem what we in India are facing. And if entrepreneurs choose the product or at the stage at which there is a higher value add, that will what finally give a lot of relief to the industry and make more money for the entrepreneur. Well, roughly all this is characterized by what happened pre-1991. Let's forget it. But what the game changer was in 1991, when the licensing pre-1991 was characterized by licensing, conserving foreign exchange, having high quotas, high income and other taxation, income tax and other taxations. For you know that we had a 97% income tax, and we had 250% in import duty. These are the kind of things. Interest as high as 18-19% for even long-term borrowing. Concession to specific industries and specific raw materials. So it was that you could import caps for something, but not as a press component in somewhere else. It was so specific to the detail that resulted in a lot of malpractices in the industry. This also resulted in ventures becoming smaller and smaller and dividing themselves into subgroups. I know for a fact that in a company called Hegde and Gole, which was making PCBs and wristwatches, had 20 companies in one building. This was the kind of, and you can see the amount of effort which somebody has to go for administering these companies, whereas you should have been spending your effort on the manufacturing. Obviously, all these resulted in flight of manpower. I can tell you from my own class of engineering or MBA, 90% of them went abroad. Some of them tried for some time, but then they went abroad. There has also been there over-regulation, and all that again leaded to what we know very well is corruption at various levels. The industrial policy of 1991, that is then PM Narasimha Rao government, that was the first step in our bringing India out of the chains, and that was called as that time called LPG. Of course, we know LPG as something else today, but LPG meaning liberalization, privatization, and globalization model. And industrial policies in India have taken a shift predominantly from the socialistic pattern to the capitalistic mode from that time onwards. That actually made a lot of things, but the mindset, see, what you must understand is that the mindset of the Indian industry, which was predominantly ruled by the license quota Raj and by the business families, would not allow the first-time entrepreneurs to enter easily. So this was a great block, and which people like us who entered the industry had to face. The 1991 policy, which brought in the license, that is, made the license permit and quota raj the thing of the past, and it attempted to liberalize the economy by removing bureaucratic hurdles. But what I can say is that what all these years, whatever the bureaucracy has learned, continues to a great extent even today. At least one thing we know in India, how to bring in controls and tighten the controls, and not the other way around. Whereas the current government is trying to deregulate and remove the chains, but still the thing of the past still remains. Okay. One of the great takeaways from at that time was the easy entry of multinational companies. If you know, pre-1991, when Mr. George Fernandez was the industries minister, he had banned Coca-Cola and IBM from the country. Of course, this resulted in the having our own local drinks and local, I wouldn't say computer assembly at least. But that also stopped our progress to a very great extent. So the entry of multinationals was possible only by the 1991 policy. There that the growth starts, and you can also learn how to indigenize. I'm looking at the way forward now. I'm just jumping right to what we are now. India now has a much liberalized industrial policy regime. Of course, from Make in India, it has made a lot more impetus from September 2014, focusing on increased foreign investment and lesser regulations. India ranked 77th on the world ease of doing business, related to and also relating to insolvency regulation and goods and services tax. Now, why do we need this insolvency resolution? Let me tell you from my own brief, from my example. In the see, not all companies, not all industries, not all entrepreneurs who start succeed. In fact, it is said that almost 90 because of one reason or the other. Either it is a market or the product or government regulations and various other things which result in the person having to exit after 2 or 3 years. We did not have a law of for declaring bankruptcy on exiting. You see, exit. You must have an exit plan even when you enter. This is very important. Like you don't enter a gas chamber which closes the door and then lets in gas and you may make you to die. You need an escape route. Only then more and more entrepreneurs will come. Please understand that entrepreneurship is a game, and not everybody succeeds. Unless you provide that escape route or exit route, it becomes difficult for the mindset of an entrepreneur to enter. This was made possible in the new policy. So campaigns such as Make in India and Startup India have helped enhance the business ecosystem in the country. However, of course, we have many problems even with all this. Number one, our cost of electricity and quality of electricity is very bad. You still need to have a generator to work with. I think the only place where you don't need generator in this country is Mumbai, because that is entirely supplied by the Tata Electric companies and distributed by Reliance. And there is a one place where the power is the quality of power is very good and there are no power outages. Imagine if the industry there need to have a backup generator and UPSs. It is unheard of in Bombay. We must have some things like that all over. Of course, there are other problems, high land costs. You see, just to give you a small example of how the cost of land has gone up. The land which we got for establishing the industry today is the price is 500 times. I tell you, it is 500 times. Now imagine if today if somebody was to establish some industry, and even if he wants a small piece of land, the land cost will be a substantial portion of his project cost. And it's of course you can say that it's an appreciating asset, but then that is not what an industry, setting up an industry is about. Okay, we still have problems of our labor regulations have improved quite a lot, but high labor costs, especially from 2013, 2012 onwards, I can say, the labor cost has become totally disproportionate to the productivity and the final cost of the product which is fetched in the market, in the Indian market. That has made a lot of problems for many of the industries, and there are many other challenges which we will not go into. Now, in the backdrop of all this, Make in India was launched by the government. on 25th September 2014 to encourage companies to manufacture their products in India and incentivize with dedicated investments into manufacturing. If you remember, post 90s, when the in fact, also the era of computers, and of course the era of the Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Treo, which started the boom of software, which was primarily most initially with body shopping, and then basically labor-related work. When I say labor, I mean white-collar labor. Whereas very few companies had anything to do with developing products. Of course, then subsequently, some of the companies came up with developing products relating to banking, finance, legal, all that. But the main emphasis was again in the lower end of the software product. The same thing goes in manufacturing, that we have, as I told you earlier, that we have not gone for innovation and high value adding in the products. The Make in India policy was to create a conducive environment for investments, develop modern and efficient infrastructure, and open up new sectors for foreign capital. FDI increased quite a bit. The initiative targeted by 25 economic sectors. In fact, Madam also told during the introduction about that. You said 23, but anyway, it's a 23, 25, doesn't really matter. Yeah, 25 economic sectors for job creation and skill enhancement.
26, sir.
Yeah?
I mentioned it as 26.
26, okay, stand corrected. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter, more the merrier. And aimed at transforming India into a global economic manufacturing hub. See, we have lost our manufacturing to China. Obviously, you all know that today, whatever you buy, including even, we may say we were making 90% of the mobile phones in India, but the major component, at least the core components, are still coming from China. Unless you start your sub-assemblies for that, the components for making that and the materials for making components, you cannot be self-sufficient. On the one hand, we have 30% of the thorium deposits of the world in this country. It's a very, very great anomaly if you find that we have such a vast coal reserve and we still import coal. Of course, recently the government, Mr. Modi, has privatized mining. Of course, there is a huge hue and cry, but they do not understand what the things behind that. So unless all this happens, you will not be a truly manufacturing country. Of course, there are various programs under Make in India. I'm sure Achyut also must have taken you through, but then I'm just taking you through some of them and some of the observations what I have on each one of these. We have of course, the National Broadband Mission. See, one thing we know that today, because of the broadband connectivity, during this COVID situation, we are able to do online sessions like what we are having now. In fact, in one of the introduction, I am also a president of the Lions School, Sevaniketan School, this year, and we have about 1,000 children studying from LKG to 10th standard, CBSE school. You know very well that post-COVID, all educational institutions are closed. Nobody is the thing. We only have the teachers coming in. After the lockdown, only the teachers have started coming in. That also briefly, there was a period when the state government said up to July 31st, I think for about 2 weeks, they said even teachers can't come in. Anyway, So, but now the teachers are coming in. We have provided the infrastructure to take online classes, but the problem is connectivity. Even now, today, when we were talking, one of the speakers couldn't come out because the bandwidth was not sufficient. And even in most of the cases, when we are looking at we have to cut down our video if we have to make our audio clear. So bandwidth is a great problem, and if this is so in cities, you can imagine what happens in the rural and other areas. I'll just tell you a problem right now where we are conducting online classes. You see, we are a very affordable school, CBSE school, which we are having. This is Mysore West Land Sevaniketan School in Gokulam. And our fees is one of the lowest, if you can imagine, in a CBSE school. And we are one of the best schools, I would say, because year on year, we have 100% CBSE results. And we have one of the highest, in the top grade students passing out. We are ISO 9000 certified school with all the facilities and managed by all professionals, mind you. In fact, in our committee, there are people who have all top professionals. And of course, we do on a pro bono basis. So we have nothing, no profits. And so we don't have to charge anything on the school fees. Now, the thing is, the students come from poor areas. In fact, we have students who are RTE students, out of which, the auto rickshaw drivers and many others, who do handcart selling, their children are also studying in our school. Now, how do I do online classes? And some of them staying in rural areas where there is hardly any connectivity. Forget about connectivity, there is no power. So we are having all these challenges. And rightfully so, the Prime Minister has acknowledged this. And during the recent Independence Day speech, he said that fiber optic cable will reach almost all the villages in another couple of years' time. And the work is going on at full speed, because that is the only way to ensure that you have a high bandwidth for transmission. Of course, the other initiatives are defense industrial corridors. We know how important it is to manufacture, defense equipment in the country. We were always importers of the defense equipment. Of course, aircraft, high-end aircraft at Rafale has to be imported, but then subsequently we can start manufacturing them. We used to import guns. Of course, who has not heard of Bofors guns, right? So what we used to manufacture was tanks, but then there are many equipment which we need to produce and be what is that Atmanirbhar, or self-sufficient in our manufacture. So rightfully so, we can't wish away that we can reduce the defense outlay of the country. It's just not possible with such hostile neighbors what we have. We are almost similar to what Israelis were, surrounded by all those hostile neighbors. Of course, may not be. We thought that Nepal was friendly, but then China is trying to slowly get into Nepal in a big way. So we have the defense is given that we have to increase our defense outlay, and to get maximum out of it, we need to produce our own defense equipment. So there is a lot of opportunities in defense production, defense-related production, and also space-related production. Of course, India has always been on the top when it comes to space and space program. We know that we are one of the top in the world. And of course, there is one other area we are the top in the world, which is the two-wheelers market. We have about 40% of the two-wheeler market of the world. I do not know what makes India to be a top producer and exporter of two-wheelers, and that is one thing which needs to be studied and made emulate for many other industries. We have to. There is a program for redefining the MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, the champions, and make them to take the industry forward. The Prime Minister also announced that Sagarmala project, which is the entire coast from the Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal, the entire region to be developed, and water transportation based on what having the river links and then transportation through water, which is a lot more economical than on the road and air. Of course, he had announced the Digital India, then the Skill Up India at the lower level of education. I would say the initial stages of education, rather, you could say, lower level. And of course, the Startup India. There are many, many more programs, but we will concentrate on the Startup India. Yes, I stand corrected. She was telling 26. I have not counted this. So these are the sectors which are under focus. You can say almost everything is there, but starting from automobile components, aviation, biotechnology, chemicals, construction, defense manufacturing, electrical machinery, electronic systems. I would rather have these electronic systems to have electronic materials to systems, rather, if I have the thing. Food processing, IT and BPM, leather, media, entertainment, mining. Mining is something which we need to privatize and go in a big way. Oil and gas, less and less dependence on oil and gas, which is needed by having solar and other alternate energy. Pharmaceuticals, of course, India is a very big producer and exporter of pharmaceuticals. If you know that during the current COVID, we were the country which was exporting that quinine tablets to all the US and many parts of the world. And that is possible because our pharmaceutical industry is well developed. Thanks again to many of the MNCs who came into India much earlier. And a lot of local industries also came in because of very good education in the chemicals and pharmaceutical industry in India. Ports and shipping, railways. Of course, railways are also trying to privatize some of the things. Renewable energy, roads and highways. Of course, this is the major lifeline. As you can see that the government is putting effort into roads even in the border areas, which was sadly absent for a long time. Space, of course, we have always been on the forefront, and there is a tremendous opportunity in space-related ventures. And in fact, there are a couple of ventures in Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore which are doing extremely well. And this is something which you need to study and emulate. Textile and garments, we have always been very good and hope on it. There were a couple of very good entrepreneurs in this area from IIM Bangalore who are doing very well. In fact, they were one of the first to start the PPE kits manufacturing when the COVID situation started. Thermal power, tourism industry, and wellness. Wellness is a thing which, of course, taking our ancient wisdom, we can do a lot on the wellness industry. Mysore itself is called as a yoga capital, so we can do a lot there. I'm straight away going to this Startup India. What are all this is? One of the main things is about the self-certification. You don't have to go and get yourself approved standing in front of the queues. I know for a fact that when I started, I used to go visit Delhi so very often to get my registration and other certificates. Every single office, there are something like about 48 different departments when you manufacture. And I must have visited most of them to go and get either an approval or a certification. Now, all that are a thing of past. That is all available online now. Patent application and IPR production. Obviously, today you don't do Me Too products. You would innovate and make something new. And the first thing today we insist, of course, even in NSR cell at IIM Bangalore, is to make a patent. And the government not only assists you in making the under Startup India to fast track it, but get a considerable rebate. In fact, in the introduction, I was told as a director of Cognizite Technologies. This is a new company. It's about 3-year old. I am an independent director in that company. We are into hardware and software solutions for process quality in construction. And we have the software product and even one hardware product, which is a robotic tile laying equipment, for which we needed to go for patenting, and we got a substantial reduction in the patent application fee, which itself is very good because of the Startup India program. IT exemption for the first 3 years, easier public procurement norms, especially when the public sector is procuring or Government of India undertakings are procuring, you get a preference because of the Startup India certification. Easy winding up of the company. I told you that startups fail, and in the earlier, I know in the 90s, I know many of quite a few of my, I would say, friends or acquaintances from Mysore whose industry failed. What they used to do is, because of the draconian laws of of course, there is a Provident Fund and so many other laws which are draconian in the sense that you can be imprisoned and put in jail. Now, to escape that, people have left the country and gone abroad and settled, just like Nirav Modi and Malia. Now, this is because you do not give an avenue for a person to file liquidation, and this was the problem, and that has been addressed now. Of course, and failure is no longer a stigma. When you start something, failure can be there, and you can be a part of it. Just to tell you a point, when I started this industry, electronic component industry, when I was in metal film, there were 7 people. And from the time when it was at the peak, there were about 42 such industries all over India. And when about 10 years back, there were hardly again about 7 of them. So you can imagine how many of them died, wound up. And we have ourselves bought over 3 of those companies over many periods. So this is a part of the game. See, there is no guarantee for success in any industry or thing, but you should make the closing down and winding up easy. This happens anywhere else everywhere in the world, and there is nothing new to India. Stand Up India gives a loan of about 10 lakhs to 1 crore bank loans. There are conditions, of course. For a smaller sums up to 10 lakh, there are the Mudra loans. Basically, what you need to do is to get once you start under the program under Startup India, there are 2 certifications you need. That's all today. One is a DPIIT certificate, which is for under the Startup India, and another is the MSME certification. These are the only 2 things you need to get registered within many departments. This is the DPIIT certification, where you can see I've just put it for my own company, which was got date of issue is 19/12/2019. As I told you, I'm a independent director in this company for the last 3 years. So I just took my own example. Okay, so this is the kind of certification you need to be recognized under Startup India, which gives all the incentives like the patent application, winding up. You have the loans under Mudra and thing. There is also another seed capital provision loan from the SIDBI, which is called Smile. I don't know, if you don't get it, you don't smile, it looks like. And we have been finding it very difficult to get into that Smile. So this is one certification, and the other one is this, which is your MSME certificate, registration, or which is also called the Udyog Aadhaar. This is needed for getting, right from your electricity, so many other things with the various government departments, including bank loans, including many other departments with which you have to interact, whether it is for commercial tax, all that. So this is that MSME certificate which you need to get. I will now get into what is the, yeah, I will take another 10 minutes maximum. I hope it's all right. Okay. Because I started at 12:20, so I mean, 11.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll take another 10 minutes, not more than that. We'll talk about the startup ecosystem in India, how it was. Of course, I wouldn't say that the entire country has a very good ecosystem. We have well-established ecosystems in Bangalore, Hyderabad. I've seen Chennai, Mumbai, yes, Pune, then the National Capital Region, and of course there may be many other places, but these are the primary places in which you see a lot of people with in the startup ecosystem. We have the angel investors network that has now recently been there. You have the Bangalore angel network, you have the Mumbai angel network, who all are ready to provide you. If you've seen what I told you earlier, I got seed capital from IDBI. Now those things are no longer available now. The terms are not that easy. So you need to find out some investor who can give you a part of the equity based on which you can get loans. Of course, that equity is no longer as easy or cheap as what I got at that time. It comes with a rider that you have to part with some of your equity. Even our own IIM Bangalore incubation asked for 3% of the equity. But the other, some of these angel networks can go up to 15% of the equity which you have to give. And even in fact, for Cognizite also, we are negotiating with one of the angels for getting our initial equity funding. So this is very well established now, angel investors network. You have a lot of incubators. Now, when you say incubators, what do you mean by incubation? Of course, you do understand that incubation is the process of nurturing to grow, if you understand very clearly. Long back, even under the earlier systems, we used to have what is called as the Science and Technology Entrepreneurial Park. There is one such thing in JC College. I think there are some professors from JSS establishment, they would have known that there is a Science and Technology Entrepreneurial Park. In fact, I was connected with it for quite some time when Professor Bashim used to head that. Professor Shivram used to head it. But what happened is these things had played a very limited role in fostering entrepreneurship, and it got sort of saturated. So a lot of universities then subsequently started their entrepreneurship cell. Of course, the oldest is in Ahmedabad, the Entrepreneurial Institute at Ahmedabad. So some of the major centers all over India came up with these incubators. Our NSR cell at IIM Bangalore, NSR standing for NS Raghavan Center for Entrepreneurship Learning at IIM Bangalore, was established in 2000. And this is to nurture entrepreneurship and incubate entrepreneurs till about a year and a half maximum. And then, of course, then they go out to the market to get funding and other things. Mentorships is something which is, I would say, fairly new in the sense that, people, like I'm a mentor, I'm a business mentor for at IIM Bangalore. There are about 30 plus others in IIM Bangalore. Most of them from the alumni of IIM Bangalore who have now the time and the experience to mentor startups. There are other mentors too. Like even if you go to the Startup India website, you will find some 500 and odd mentors from all over India. Now, these mentors are giving you time to you. You don't charge anything. It's a pro bono. I have mentorship program quite often. In fact, in IIM Bangalore, we have it on Fridays. Friday mornings are mentoring sessions. So anybody can come up with questions for which we'll possibly try to give ways to solve the problems, I would say, rather than solving the problem for that. Similarly, we have workspaces. Workspaces, especially in Bangalore, is quite common. We have very little in Mysore. Mysore, of course, STEP has some workspace, and of course now the STPI has also come up with Mysore has come up with some workspace, and Sid Mukherjee place in Hebal also has some workspace. Of course, there they give you for mostly for retail and food processing. These are the two areas which they are doing at there. So, but workspaces in Bangalore, you can find in every single nook and corner of Bangalore, where you pay only per seat and you have an address, you have a bandwidth, you have all other facilities which people come and work after office hours. See, obviously, when you are trying to start up, you have to combine your family, you have to combine your work, what you are doing, and your own space, social space, and then startup. The startup ecosystems in Bangalore have things like even hangout joints, which of course we don't see it much in Mysore. But then, if you go to that Koramangala belt, you will find a lot of hangout joints. You may, some of us may think that these youngsters are just having fun, but then I can tell you that more than half the crowd is now discussing ideas, on startups, and that's where things start. So of course I have not listed here as a hangout joint, but then that is also one of the things. It is healthy to create such hangout joints. If you see the design of Indian Institute of Management itself, you'll find that in that 100-acre campus, you'll find a lot of hangout joints which are there, of course, where people can just stand together, sit together, just for discussion. Because when people meet, they discuss. But when at least most of them turn out to be something useful at some point of time. So as I said, work, and then the next stage is that accelerators. That is, once the incubation is done, then the startup needs to look for the fundings. Today they call it Series A, Series B, Series C fundings. That is, these funds are required and nurturing for the startup to grow at a certain, rapidly. So that is when these accelerators come in with their funds and also their expertise in making the particular industry, who have experience in those specific industries, to grow. You can see that if you have seen Ola, of course, everybody knows how fast it has grown. Similarly, Oyo Rooms, how fast it has grown. And there are many examples, even small things like this, Just Books, which is there. In fact, I know I have mentored one girl who has done her engineering from RVC just 3 years back, and now she's doing excellently well on waste management. And she has got some awards internationally, but she has grown very fast. Initially incubated at IIM, but then subsequently by accelerators outside. Yeah. So this is the kind of ecosystem which is available. You need ideas today. Money and other things come automatically. So this is probably much better that way, much better than what initially when I started. Okay. So I will now briefly tell about our own Indian Institute of Management Bangalore, the startup the scenario there. As I said, it is called NSR Cell or NS Raghavan Center for Entrepreneurship Learning. NS Raghavan, Nadadur S. Raghavan, was one of the co-founders of Infosys, incidentally, along with Narayan Murthy, Nandan Nilekani et al. And he had donated a substantial sum to IIM Bangalore in the late 90s to set up this cell inside the campus of IIM Bangalore, and that's why it is called NS Raghavan Center. And he continues to head the center in all its activities. Of course, IMB has a chairperson from the faculty to oversee the operation, and we have a COO, Chief Operating Officer, who is an alumni of IIM Bangalore, who is looking after the day-to-day affairs. And then there is a large set of staff to head the various verticals which we have. This is located inside the IIM campus, established in 2000, about say 20 years back, and with the support of of course, as you know, IIM Bangalore itself is a central government institute, and so we have a lot of assistance from the government, both the central and the state. Obviously, any IIM has a lot of linkage with the corporates, both in India and abroad. We have a lot of institutional partners from, if you see the website, you can see like Deshpande Foundation and Goldman Sachs and Texas Instruments. A lot of such institutions are partnering in many different ways. And basically, it is established to provide a platform to successful and budding entrepreneurs for both profit and non-profit ventures. So we have different focus areas for profit ventures. Of course, that is something which is routinely done. There has been, in the last couple of years, there has been a thrust on women entrepreneurs, out of which we have one successful program which is running currently, which is what we call as the 10K Women Entrepreneur Program. This program aims to create 10,000 women entrepreneurs in a span of about 3 to 4 years' time there. And this entire program is funded by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs, is a consulting, US-based consulting firm. And of course, through IIM Bangalore. Everything is done through IIM Bangalore. We have now centers. Earlier we started with Bangalore, but then we have centers in Mumbai and Delhi also. There are many women entrepreneurs from Mysore who have taken advantage of this. I would urge, from the audience to look up the website, nsrcell.org. That is the website, nsrcell.org. So you can find all these schemes which are there in that. We have student entrepreneurships, especially we are concentrating more on the engineering students. This is called the IICDC, India Innovation Challenge Design Contest, which started about, I think, 1996 was the first year it started. So this is the 4th year which is going. Every year we ask the colleges to send teams to participate in the design challenge, and it was initially started with about I think 10,000-20,000 students. Last year we have touched almost 1 lakh students participating in this design challenge contest from various colleges all over India, engineering colleges, typically 6-7 semester onwards. Yeah. And there is a stage of 3-4 stages of, I wouldn't call it filtering, but jury. I'm also one of the jury which is there in the DST website in Delhi. And then we finally filter it to about 60 teams. And these 60 teams are then personally, evaluated at various centers, then finally at IIM Bangalore, and along with TI, Texas Instruments. They give the Texas Instruments provides the technical support, and IIM Bangalore gives the business support for this. And the finalists are then awarded 20 lakh rupees for 2 years by Department of Science and Technology, managed through IIM Bangalore. And of course, they have to give monthly progress reports, which are evaluated by a team, teams like us who are there in the team, who evaluate both the technical and the business progress of the project to disburse these funds. So there are like these various processes. There are social ventures which are supported by Deshpande Foundation and Infosys Foundation, all that, So there are many agencies supporting the ventures, but through the startup hub at IIM Bangalore. It's a very thriving setup. I wish I could, if some of you are interested, they can. In fact, I've recently taken NIE, persons from NIE. I've taken people from the Sid Mukherjee's venture there. In fact, Sid Mukherjee himself went and talked to the people at NSR Cell to collaborate for startups. We are open. After all, we are a government organization, and we would like to collaborate with colleges to foster entrepreneurship. That's what it is. Finally, I take you to your last slide to show how entrepreneurship is flourishing in Bangalore. In fact, this is one of the things which I always am quite at awe of. There are so many co-working spaces, then we call accelerators. You see, even in institutions, there are about 9 institutions in Bangalore which are centers for incubation. Out of which, of course, IIM Bangalore is there, one of them. Indian Institute of Science has a big program there. Okay. And last but not the least, as I said, the hangout joints which are there, which foster entrepreneurship. Co-working spaces. In fact, the largest co-working space in Bangalore is partly owned by a person from Mysore who did his MBA at SDM Institute of Management. In fact, he was my student, BK Ravindra. And he has that Beehive, if you have heard of. Beehive is one of the, they have branches in Bangalore right through, from HSR layout to Residency Road to MG Road. MG Road, they have the largest co-working space of 1,000 spaces. And of course, Bangalore also has this NASCOM 10,000, which is there on Old Airport Road. So there is a lot of, the ecosystem is created very well. I wish Mysore at least has at least 1/10 of Bangalore's ecosystem. Then we can possibly see a lot of entrepreneurship happening. After all, we all know that if some industry has to thrive, industry doesn't need support. Financial and other things are secondary, but what is mainly needed is the infrastructure. If you have good infrastructure, even whether it is a farmer, if a farmer needs to thrive, he needs to have an infrastructure right from end to end, the entire supply chain, from the seeds to advisory to everything. And all these are being created. In fact, one of the reasons why the regulated market thing was removed was that he can now directly market the product if he wants. And there are many people who are trying to help in all these, end-to-end solutions in agriculture, farming, pisciculture. I'm seeing many projects even in those areas. So that in a, I would say, a nutshell is what the ecosystem is. Of course, I may not have touched many of the points, but still sufficient enough to tingle the interest of the audience and maybe look for more. So I would like to end here and I'll take any questions from the audience. Thank you very much.
ನಮ್ಮ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೆ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ, ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಹಾಗೂ ಹಲವಾರು ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. ಯಾರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು.
No, because it's better to unmute and talk. No problem.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes sir, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
Can you introduce yourself, because I'm seeing
Sir,
you as JSS
Shashalar
Polytechnic Nanjangud. Yeah.
Sir, I am principal, JSS Polytechnic Nanjangud.
Yes sir.
Sir, I have one clarification regarding this.
Tell
You
me,
have
sir.
set up
Yeah, tell me, sir.
entrepreneurship development in our Polytechnic
Yeah.
at Nanjangud.
Yeah.
ACT had sanctioned 8 lakhs to set up the scheme.
Yeah.
But in association with the EDA Ahmedabad,
EDA Ahmedabad. Yeah.
we have been
Sir, I would suggest if you can close your video, because your audio is not getting enough bandwidth. If you just close your video, you can get your bandwidth.
for our students.
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್, ತಮ್ಮ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೋ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
Hello.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹಲೋ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇರೋ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಸರ್ ದಯಮಾಡಿ.
No. Otherwise, what you do is you just close the video. You'll get the audio will be clearer.
Yeah.
ಇನ್ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳೋದಿದ್ರೆ
But from
ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
last 2 years, we did not
Maybe you can type it.
any grant from them. This is point number 1. And second, okay. Oh, that is the problem.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Now, sir, I am audible.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ಆಡಿಬಲ್ ಸರ್.
Sorry, some technical problem, maybe.
Yes sir.
Yes sir, please
No,
go
I
ahead.
have closed video. Video close ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಈಗ ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
ನಾನು video close ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಮಾತಾಡಿ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
Hello.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಾ?
ಮಾತಾಡಿ
Okay.
please.
Sir, we have set up one entrepreneurship development cell at our Polytechnic at Nanjangud.
Yes sir.
AACT had sanctioned 8 lakhs to set up the cell. So we have
Right.
purchased some public address systems and some other items. And in association with the EDA Ahmedabad, we have been conducting EAC for the students.
Okay. Yes sir.
ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಕೇಳೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಅವರು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಕೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ.
Anyway, sir, you can write to me, or I can probably visit you. Of course, I am in Jayalakshmipuram. I can always come.
Oh, it's very comfortable.
Anytime we can. Yeah.
Okay, I am in Mysore. I can meet you, sir. No problem. No issues for this one.
Yeah.
Sir, you
We
can
can-
go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share my number. Of course, you can always.
Okay, sir.
Bhagyashree knows my number, so she can.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Yeah, you can take it, and I'll visit you. No
I will
problem.
share the numbers.
Okay, madam. Sure. Thank you, madam. Thank you,
ಮತ್ತೆ
sir.
ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಸರ್ ನಾನೊಂದು ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ?
ಕೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಸರ್ ನಾವೊಂದು ಧಾರವಾಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೆಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಟು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ದಿ ರೂರಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್.
Yes.
We approached NSDC for the loan. They have sanctioned soft loan, but further to conduct the training programs, can we approach them to get training programs from them, any grants from them?
No, approach whom?
NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation, New Delhi.
Yeah. National skill development will definitely help you on that. I'm sure.
Okay. Only okay. They are sanctioning a loan for the building and equipment, but not for the programs.
No,
if they have
training. No, for training in skill development, they have empaneled many organizations and individual consultants.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ask them for a list, they will give you the empaneled consultants. And whoever is nearest to you or in Dharwad itself, you can approach for providing those training programs.
Program grants.
Yeah. They should.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, if you have your some network like what we have in IIM Bangalore, you see, we have, IIM we is not spending a rupee on the mentoring, because everything is done by the alumni. In fact, I spend on my expense to go to Bangalore and visit IIM Bangalore, everything to come back. They don't offer me anything except the fact that yes, you have the pride of doing it. We call it pro bono. High profile 30 mentors doing pro bono work. Right, that is their privilege. So you need to develop from your own association. I am sure most of the people who are associated with you, if you find some good people, either in the same city or otherwise, you can use them for training. See, you should use what is called the bootstrapping model. You can't afford to pay and get things done. See, and that is what even the government is doing. You see the Startup India website. There are some 500 and odd mentors. None of them are paid.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So don't look for a paid model. You look for experts who can help you. Maybe even once a week or something like that. Once or twice in a month. So even if you are able to get about 5, 6 or even 10 people for Dharwad, that will help a lot. See. Or even a very nominal honorarium for defraying expenses. So that is more than enough. Yeah.
Right, sir. Anyway, we are in JSS. So JSS has got a very network in the
JSS alumni are all over the world. So
yes, sir.
I'm sure in Dharwad you'll find plenty of JSS alumni.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for your informations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನ ಅಂತಿಮ ಹಂತಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ವಂದನಾರ್ಪಣೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಸರ್, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ವಿದ್ಯಾವರ್ಧಕ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಕಾಲೇಜು ಮೈಸೂರು, ಇವರು ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I am Krishna, Principal of Vidyavardhaka Polytechnic, Mysore. So Honorable Speaker of today's program, Sri R. Sukumar, Director at Cognizant Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore. Respected Program Host Dr. T.C. Purnima, Deputy Director, Field Outreach Bureau, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Respected Principal Dr. L. Basavaraj, Program Organizer, ATME College of Engineering. Program Convener Dr. Bhagyasri, Professor of ATME in the Department of ECE. And program participating institutions and all the participants of this program. So it is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. R. Sukumar was actually delivered a lot of information regarding the ease of entrepreneurship through Make in India. It was really interesting and informative. Especially at this moment, we need to change our mind and take it as challenge to become self-employment, for which government has come forward to support and encourage in all the way. Sir, you are really inspired us to set up own enterprises to create employment and to become independent in manufacturing and producing the products in all the fields to fulfill needs of our country so that India can stand in the top position in the world. So I, on behalf of Vidyavardhaka Polytechnic, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, organizing and participating institutions, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Sri R. Sukumar for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinion today.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Dr. T.C. Purnima for their valuable support she has extended to all of us at this webinar. I also extend my thanks to Dr. Basavaraju L., Principal, ATME College of Engineering, for their enormous cooperation in organizing this event. And I also wish to express my gratitude to convener of this program, principals of all the participating institutes, all the guests, organizing committee, and participants of this program. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Have a good day.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್, ತಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ ವಂದನೆಗಳು.
Thank you, sir.
ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಂತ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಸಮಯ. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೊರೋನಾ ಪ್ಯಾಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟೈಸರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಳಸಬೇಕು, ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಧರಿಸಬೇಕು, ಕೊರೋನಾನ ದೂರಗೊಳಿಸೋಣ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಂದೇಶನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಅಂತ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋಣ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಇದೇ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೀವಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.